I'd like to recognize a gentleman from Kansas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Ambassador Tai, for being here today. I know with votes, we've got people coming in and out, and an impact there. I know you're familiar with the process, familiar with the room, and working diligently, both in your current role as well as here before that with the committee. So, you know, I guess I'm a little concerned, or I guess I'd like to see more. I mean, this is a third appearance or a third year that you've been before the committee, and a lot of things are just continuing on without much new being accomplished through that and completed through that process. And there's so many good trade things that we can address. I think that both Republicans and Democrats agree with, and that I think if we could get, in my opinion, I think we need the administration to be engaged a little bit more on actually getting some of these things done. I don't know if there's some obstacles that are being put in your way that are keeping you from doing some of the things I think we all agree with, you as well, want to accomplish. I want to talk about two or three things before my time runs out. I'll start with digital service taxes and the OECD process with Pillar 1. You know, as we've talked for the last couple of years about the digital services taxes that were being implemented by various countries, how much of an impact and a burden that was going to place on particularly American companies. And so I was very supportive of the OECD's effort with Pillar 1 and the effort moving forward there to help make sure that we address that and get a consistent playing field across all of the developed world and the world of the OECD community. But I'm concerned now that we've kind of dropped the ball on, not dropped the ball, just paused with Pillar 1 in order to look at Pillar 2. And then the Pillar 2 discussion's taking all of the time and energy and a distraction away from that. So I guess my questions, as we get closer and closer to December of this year when the 301 suspension expires, are you looking at reactivating that, moving that forward, because it has taken so long to go through and bring closure to Pillar 1?
Mr. Estes, this is a great question, and it's an area where USTR has worked very, very closely with the Treasury Department because they lead in the OECD negotiations, and of course we're responsible for the 301 action. I have to confess that I'm not up on the latest in terms of the OECD work in the Pillar 1, Pillar 2, but let me just affirm to you that the 301 statute is one of our most important statutes, and those DSTs are suspended pending successful conclusion.
Well, thank you. And I understand there's some dynamics there between Treasury and asked some similar questions with Secretary Yellen when she was here as well in terms of what do we do going forward. I want to talk a little bit about our trade, particularly with China. Obviously, I think the United States probably we should have gone in a different direction in terms of our relationship with the Indo-Pacific region and trade arrangements there. But I'm concerned now with some of the approaches China's made over the years that everybody agrees with in terms of intellectual property theft and restrictions that they put on American industries. So, where are you at now? What's your current status on the view of the China's aggressive approach to trade, and what should the U.S. be doing more of to help counter the CCP?
Well, thank you for that question. This is something that we do a lot of thinking on and also are working quite a bit on as well. As you may be aware, we are currently in the process of a statutory, what we call a comprehensive 4-year review of the Section 301 actions, which were based on the 2018 301 findings around economic harm from China's IP rights abuses and forced tech transfer policies. Overall, we are using a lot of different approaches, both domestically here to continue to invest in ourselves to be able to compete from a position of strength. We are working in multilateral settings where we are members along with China, like the WTO, the G20. We're also working in smaller settings like the G7 and bilaterally with our other partners. The Indo-Pacific Economic Framework as well is an area where we're really trying to work with partners with whom we have shared interests across the board in terms of the challenges that we face. But in this area, you are right. I agree with you. There is a lot more for us to do. We are primed to do it, and I commit to staying in good touch with you and this committee as we prepare for next steps.
All right. Well, thank you. And in my discussions with some of our countries from around the Indo-Pacific region, they want us to be engaged, and so